At the end of last year, Beitong released its latest flagship handle, Zeus 2. Not long ago, Beitong sent me another Zeus Pro. I thought, didn't take long. An upgraded version came out so soon. Until the moment I opened the package. Only then did I realize how this appearance is similar to a generation of Zeus. So like, oh, I understand, after all people call him Zeus Pro, instead of the Zeus 2 Pro, so everything seems so reasonable again. In fact, just from the appearance, the difference between Zeus Pro and the first generation of Zeus is really not very big. The same removable case, but I personally feel that this is originally silver gray. The color scheme is already quite good looking. Adding a new face shell is a bit incongruous. Also, this shell is a little difficult to remove. The action keys and arrow keys also continue to be targeted for differences. The design style of the platform is replaced. I have to say, this set of molds in Beitong should be replaced at this stage. The optimal solution for the arrangement of action keys on different platforms. There is no need to increase the cost or purchase additional buttons. Very friendly for multi-platform players. The rocker cap is likewise replaceable. However, rocker caps of other heights need to be purchased by yourself. Fortunately, the same joystick cap used by Zeus Pro and Zeus 2, and I happen to have a Zeus 2 in my hand, so you can just take it over and replace it. The cross key, on the other hand, is non-replaceable. The Start Select button at the top, the touch buttons of Zeus, which also continued a generation, were continued. Because the same mold is used, therefore, the button layout on the back is also the same as that of the first generation of Zeus. At the top are the configuration buttons and handle switches. Somatosensory switch. At the bottom are 4 expansion buttons. The only difference comes from the side under the handle. The headphone jack for the generation of Zeus has been cancelled on the Zeus Pro. See this? I believe many students are a little confused. What is the difference between Zeus Pro and the first generation of Zeus? In fact, in addition to appearance, as long as you get started, you can feel the difference between the two, because the same mold is used, so there is not much difference between the Zeus Pro and the Zeus generation in terms of grip. In terms of buttons, the most obvious feeling is the action button. According to the pressure, a similar scheme to the optical axis of Zeus 2 is used. In terms of pressure and length, it is very close to the optical axis of Zeus 2. The trigger force of the shoulder advance is relatively light, but the damping of the trigger is also stronger than other handles. It's heavy. The back sword adopts a micro-movement scheme. The trigger requires a certain amount of force to hold it normally. The risk of accidental touch is not very large. The feel of the joystick rotates very well. Compared to other joysticks that also use diamond rings, it is much smoother. After removing the rocker cap, I found that its diamond ring was not fixed. It's this kind of rotatable, no wonder it's so silky. In fact, I still can't adapt to this touch start and select buttons. I always feel like I haven't pressed it. Fortunately, Beitong added vibration feedback when touching these two buttons. So until now, I feel that the upgrade of this Pro version doesn't seem to be a big deal. From the appearance to the feel, it's just a fan of headphones. Interface, it feels like it's the same everywhere. But after going online, it feels different. The first is this frightening rate of return. After turning on the overclocking mode of Beitong's own lightsaber algorithm, the wired state rate of return is directly done. More than 1000 Hz. And in the receiver state, it can also be above 700 Hz. Regarding the tuning of the joystick, Beitong also adopts the form of default non-death. The center point is very silky. After all, Beitong claims a resolution of 2000 levels of joysticks. Even if you zoom in and observe, the changes in the coordinate points are very smooth. The circular adjustment of the outer ring of the rocker without solid terrain dead zone. And it is the edge of the real primordial joystick. Gently push to see the change in the stick coordinate points on the test page. However, there are still certain problems with the handling of the trigger. When pressed to 1/1 of the built, the change in the established value to the established value of 1/3 is not linear. For racing games, it still has a relatively big impact, but because the one in my hand is the inner version, this question has been fed back to Beitong RD. It has been established that the official version will solve this problem. After all, the Big Factory app is also very complete. Players can implement joysticks, die, and change in the app. Features such as sensitivity adjustment, key mapping, and light and vibration adjustment. In addition to these basic functions, the mobile phone can also be mapped and played. I think the somatosensory buttons above the handle are still very convenient. It needs to be opened by somatosensory. No need to turn it off. And this somatosensory can be used on any platform. Next, let's disassemble the machine and take a look at the inside. As soon as we take it apart, we will find that the materials used are really sufficient. The action part and back part of the Hall joystick micro-movement of the Hall banner. Especially the action buttons, the bullet wall silicone and line position are also added to the micro-movement. The 4 keycaps are also pluggable. It is very convenient to change the keys. The motherboard is 1.6 mm thick and the workmanship is very neat. There is no sweat leakage and residue of perspirant. The battery has a capacity of 1000 mAh. You can play for more than 20 hours and the socket scheme is used for the connection between the motor and the motherboard. The D-pad uses this mechanical switch. The pressure is relatively small. The key travel is also relatively short. The top piece is the touchpad for the start and select keys. This is probably the state of the internal structure. Generally speaking, Beidong's workmanship is still as stable as ever, whether you need it or not. Anyway, all the materials that can be stacked are piled up for you. Beidong's Juice Pro configuration doesn't look as luxurious as Juice 2, but the polishing of the details is quite in place. For example, the action of this replaceable position, the return rate of the key 1000 Hz, sensitive body feel, as well as PCNS independent preset configuration. It can be seen that Beidong is a player who wants to take into account both PC and NS platforms. If you are considering buying a full platform controller, you can see that this Juice Pro is really good.